Now at 6 and streaming on CrossroadsToday.com, new information on the murder of Lisbeth Medina in Edna earlier this month. More details on a North Texas crash that killed 6 people Tuesday. And over $10 million of illegal drugs are seized at the border in Laredo.
As Don would say, Chamber of Commerce weather, but overnight in the mornings, we could have a chilly one or two. We'll talk all about it, but first, here's Zach.
In Texas State, looking for that first ever bowl victory. Stick around, I'll have that in sports.
You're watching 25 News now at 6. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Don Brubaker. Karina Garcia is off tonight. New details now on the arrest of Rafael Romero, the 23-year-old man who authorities say confessed to the December 5th murder of 16-year-old Lisbeth Medina in Edna. The Jackson County Herald Tribune reports a probable cause affidavit shows Romero displayed what is called stalking type behavior before the fatal stabbing. Lisbeth's phone was active in the days following her death, and information from her phone led police to Schulenburg, where Romero was taken into custody. He was found to have Lisbeth's wallet. While Romero is at the Jackson County Jail on $2 million bond, an immigration hold based on his expired visa makes him ineligible for bond. El Campo police took 34-year-old Ryan Reyes into custody late last week. Reyes faces 9 charges, including abandonment and endangering a child, burglary of a building, and evading arrest. Reyes is in the Wharton County Jail in lieu of $70,500 bond. U.S. Customs and Border Patrol officers in Laredo found meth and cocaine worth more than $10 million in a tractor trailer last week. KSAT reports the drugs were seized at the World Trade Bridge after a tractor trailer was referred to a secondary inspection. The tractor trailer was supposed to be only hauling fresh cut flowers in a refrigerated unit, but officers found more than 1,000 pounds of drugs inside. Homeland Security is investigating the case. There are 3 candidates in the Lavaca County Sheriff GOP primary. The Hallettsville Tribune Herald reports Micah Harmon is seeking his 3rd term as county sheriff. Anthony Vaccaro of Yoakum is now director of operations for the sheriff's office. Stephen Greenwell of Hallettsville was Lavaca County Precinct 1 Justice of the Peace before he resigned. The Lavaca County GOP primary is March 5th. No Democrats filed to run for sheriff, so the GOP primary winner will be Lavaca County's next sheriff. And now let's take a first look at your forecast. In for First Warn Storm Team Chief Meteorologist Mac Pettis is meteorologist Howie Gordon. And Howie, great day to be a meteorologist today in the Crossroads. Lovely weather we're having.
An easy day for sure, Don. Not a lot of plotting and data searching. Yeah, absolutely beautiful day. I'll take these all day, every day. Now, the thing about it is, with this lack of cloud cover, we saw lots of sunshine, but now we can see some cool nights and evenings. We can be seeing temperatures in the 30s, maybe Thursday night into Friday night, with Friday night potentially temperatures dropping into that freezing range in remote areas of the viewing area. I guess remote, away from the water for that matter, but 37 degrees overnight, burr. But then tomorrow, not too bad, as we'll see temperatures warm back up to around 60 degrees. We'll talk more about our cool nights and mornings coming up in just a bit, Don.
Howie, thank you. A missing pregnant South Texas teenager and her boyfriend were found dead at a parked car Tuesday in San Antonio. 18-year-old Savannah Soto and 22-year-old Matthew Guerra were reported missing by police. 2 bodies were found at an apartment complex. NBC News is just reporting both had suffered gunshot wounds. Authorities said the bodies may have been there for 3 or 4 days. Soto's family said she was a week overdue to deliver and was scheduled to have an induced labor at a hospital last Saturday night. A 2-vehicle crash on the North Texas highway killed 6 people and critically injured 3 others. Authorities said Wednesday that Tuesday's crash near Fort Worth happened when a southbound pickup truck driven by a 17-year-old entered the northbound lanes in a no passing zone and crashed head-on into a minivan. The crash killed 6 people in the minivan. 5 of the passengers who died in that vehicle were from Georgia. A 7th passenger in the van and 2 17-year-olds in the truck were transported to the hospital. A pilot was killed after his plane crashed into an East Texas home Tuesday. DPS responded to a residence east of Dallas around 6 p.m. after reports of a plane crashing into the side of a home. Authorities found one person dead inside a single-engine plane as a result of the crash. No one was at home when the crash happened. The name of the pilot has not been released to the public. The National Transportation Safety Board will oversee the investigation. Senior U.S. officials are now in Mexico pressing their counterparts to help drive down border crossings. All of this as President Biden is facing increased pressure over the handling of the U.S. southern border. And during their meeting, officials are expected to bring up a number of requests, including moving migrants south, controlling the railways that are used by migrants to move north, and providing incentives to not journey to the border, like visas, so migrants can remain in Mexico. Now, it's been reported that President Biden spoke to Mexico's president about the border crisis last week. The two leaders agreed that additional enforcement actions were, according to them, urgently needed, so key ports of entry could be reopened. Here are some of the top headlines you can read in the Port Lavaca Wave. The widening of the Matagorda Ship Channel is facing a setback after a miscalculation was found in how much material was needed to be dredged from the channel. Plus, the Calhoun County Commissioners Court approved several amendments to the county's budget in a meeting on December 6th. You can read these stories and more at theportlavacawave.com. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click the notification bell. That way you can see Crossroads Today on YouTube. And stay with us. Coming up on 25 News now at 6. Retired teachers in Texas cannot wait for New Year's Day to come. We'll tell you why coming up. Also ahead, find out what happens to a family after they found drugs at a Dallas Airbnb. Now in Mexico, pressing Mexican officials to help drive down border crossings. All of this as President Biden is facing increased pressure over the handling of the U.S. southern border.
Senior U.S. officials, including Secretary of State Anthony Blinken and Secretary of Homeland Security Alejandro Mayorkas, are meeting with Mexico's president and security cabinet today. The goal, to try and stem the unprecedented surge of people trying to cross the U.S. southern border. The mayor of Eagle Pass, Texas, says his community is overwhelmed.
Our city here in Eagle Pass, we've been getting slammed with 2,000 to 3,000 people a day, and it's just an unfair, unethical situation. What's going on here in Eagle Pass, we feel ignored by the federal government.
During their meeting, U.S. officials are expected to bring up a number of requests, including moving migrants south, controlling the railways that are used by migrants to move north, and providing incentives to not journey to the border, like visas, so migrants can remain in Mexico.
What we are seeing is an influx at the border that right now for our nonprofit organizations, our churches, other humanitarian efforts that are taking place outside of the scope of the federal government, that those folks are truly overwhelmed.
Right now, roughly 11,000 migrants are waiting in shelters and camps on the Mexican side of the border to get into the U.S., according to community leaders. They say many of those migrants are hoping to enter the U.S. through legal pathways. I'm Ivan Rodriguez reporting.
Starting next Monday, New Year's Day, retired teachers in Texas will get a pay increase. It's due to a cost of living adjustment that was approved by voters in November. That adjustment has not been given to retired teachers since 2013. Lawmakers also passed a bill to give retired teachers between 70 and 75 years old a one-time supplemental payment. Altogether, it would be about $5 billion coming from the state's surplus budget. This also applies to retired school staff like bus drivers and custodians. A U.S. International Trade Commission order has prevented Apple from importing the latest models of the Apple Watch and Apple Watch Ultras to the U.S. because they violate patents registered to another company. Now that import ban has been temporarily blocked. The watches have been removed from Apple's online store and physical store shelves earlier this week. Apple did not immediately say whether the Apple Watch would go back on sale at its stores. The company's fix for the affected Apple Watches is expected to take place by January 12th. Here's your viewer poll this evening. Scan that QR code on your screen to vote. Here's the question. Do you own or were planning to buy one of the affected Apple Watch models? Yes or no? Let's look at the numbers. It looks like, let's see, 8%, I believe, say yes, they were going to buy an Apple Watch, and 92% say no, they were not. We thank you for voting. We want to hear from you. Come to crossroadstoday.com/vote to take part, and I'll have an update on 25 News Now at 10. Well, a family says they were wrongfully forced out of a Dallas Airbnb after finding drugs and money inside, and they reported it to police.
Without question,
family is everything to me.
And Elliot Mosby will do just about anything for his, especially this Christmas.
This is the one time that we all were together in probably about 10 years.
To Mosby's fear, possibly the last.
I have a mother who has stage 4 cancer. My father as well, who has early stages of dementia.
So Mosby gathered 14 family members from different states, renting out 4 Dallas Airbnbs. Early Christmas morning, his 12-year-old niece, staying at this home on Delano Road, found an unexpected holiday Scrooge.
She found, it looked like a crystal product, like crystal meth, a crack pipe, and then also drug money. That's unsafe. Imagine if my 12-year-old niece tried the drugs, thinking it was candy.
Mosby says he contacted the Airbnb host, Dallas police, and Airbnb support.
On the day of Christmas at 10:45 a.m., I received a call with them telling me that we had to vacate the property in less than 2 hours.
Throwing out food and looking for a new place.
I ended up leaving everything in the Airbnb just because we didn't want to have anything to do with it. You know, I wanted to keep my family safe.
Dallas police tell us a police report was filed, but they're no longer investigating since the items were left behind. The Airbnb host did not want to comment, and Airbnb could not give an official statement, but directed us to their safety page, recommending guests always do safety checks, contact police and their help center in emergencies. Mosby told us Airbnb offered a refund late Christmas night, but he wants more done.
First, reach out and apologize. This was the last Christmas that potentially that I will have to remember, you know, being kicked out on Christmas Day.
A bah humbug in itself. In Dallas, I'm Brittany Moncrief.
Here's a look at some of the top headlines you'll find in the Cuero Record. Longtime DPS trooper Ruben Garcia retires, and Westhoff ISD held its annual Christmas program. Read these stories and more at DeWittCountyToday.com. And a big headline for today, Howie, is beautiful weather in the Crossroads.
I couldn't agree with you more, Don, but a little chilly for my liking overnight. We'll talk about all that coming up in just a moment. All right, welcome back. Here's what we got. So, well, you're probably there. I just put back to the broadcast here. A couple breezy days, cool nights and mornings, but we had some nice days. Today, 70 degrees, beautiful with sunshine, absolutely fabulous winter December day, Christmas week, New Year's week day. I loved it. So we topped out at 71 degrees. New Year's Eve day, we had 75. Okay, the front came down and knocked us down a little bit, so we're above average. We've been as good or as high as 83 back in 1968, but we're going to break it down. How good is this weather or how bad is it? Because here's what we have. I talked about it. High pressure moved down behind the front, bringing that cool, dry, sinking air into the area. Now, we had some cloud cover for the first day or so after Christmas. Those clouds are beginning to thin even more as high pressure continues to build into the area. And what is that doing? With the high pressure, we are now allowing for less cloud cover, which means, yeah, we're getting the sunshine to heat us up during the day, but at nighttime, that heat's escaping into the atmosphere, so we're getting on the chilly side. Now, Thursday and Friday night, we could see temperatures dropping down into the 30s, and maybe by Friday, we might see a few spots in the Crossroads dropping into the freezing category, 32, 31, 30 degrees. So yeah, we could see some chilly nights. Now, as that cool, dry air continues to move in, it's fighting it out with the Gulf, because the Gulf's trying to put some moisture in there and elevate our moisture levels, but overall, very much on the dry side in the atmosphere, thus keeping us pretty much cloud-free. All right, here is what we have. high pressure moved in behind our latest cold front that pushed out there, pushed all the rain and everything out there. We were, as I mentioned now, the cool, dry air is undercutting the warm moisture. That allowed for some cloud cover. But as high pressure moves off, more high pressure moving in, more cool, dry, sinking air moving down, that makes it very difficult for cloud formation. So we'll have some good sunshine in the day, but at night, as I just showed you, we're going to get on the cooler side because this heat then, the clouds act as a blanket keeping the heat in. Without the cloud cover, that heat now escapes into the atmosphere. So yes, we can see those chilly, chilly nights. What's going to happen though, maybe Friday into Saturday, as this high continues to move off, we'll start to see that warm moisture pushing in, and then we'll start to see warmer temperatures. But then moisture levels increase as well. That brings us closer to maybe some rain chances after the weekend. We'll then see that warm moisture later on in the week start pushing in. We'll start to see the temperatures overnight not dropping down as far as potentially into the 30s. All right, here's our marine forecast. So 62 for our water. Now, these gusts, they'll eventually be about maybe just 5 to 10 knots, but 2 to 3 foot seas. You know, things got stirred up last couple days. We're still going to keep our bays on the choppy side. So overnight, ooh, I don't like that. Down to 37 degrees, clear and chilly. But then for tomorrow, not too bad. I'll take 60, and maybe with that sunshine. Now, here's the thing. We're dropping down so much, it's a struggle to warm up. So I'm hoping the sun can maybe push us a few degrees warmer, maybe make it up to 65. But 37, that's a long way to warm up from. Look at this time of year with the sun not being as strong. But here's what we got. We make our way to New Year's Eve. Hey, 71 degrees. But then that boundary, remember last week, Christmas Eve into Christmas Day, that boundary came down and cooled us down. But you know what? A lot of people in the country will take 60 and even 58, but I'm not too happy about that rain. I know a lot of us want that rain, though. For more weather, news, and sports, you can go to our app. That's at crossroadstoday.com, and that is free with any Android and iPhone. And now we'll send it back to Don.
Howie, thank you. Zach Brown's here with sports, and he has some big news on a co-host of Shark Tank on this station. All right, Zach.
Well, I guess you kind of gave it away, but one NBA team just got sold, and we'll have some area basketball scores as well in sports. Well, yesterday we told you about the Shiner girls and their number 18 ranking in Class 2A. Well, earlier today they took on the Yoakum Bulldogs and they win again. Final score in this one, 49-37. They run that winning streak up to 8 consecutive wins. The last time they lost was to the Cuero girls, who are also ranked in Class 4A for Yoakum. It was a good test against an elite team. Now they try to snap their 3-game losing streak. Their game against Marion started about an hour ago. Over on the boys' side of things, close battle with Kennedy. Shiner up 5 late. Touchdown pass. He doesn't even have to dribble. Big bucket for the Comanches, but Kennedy not going away easily. They answer with a 3 ball, and it's just a 4-point game. But Kennedy fouls Shiner, who hit a free throw in their desperation attempt. As time wound down, fell short. The boys win 58-53. The St. Joseph Lady Flyers just keep flying high. Another tournament, another doubleheader, and another sweep. In game one of their doubleheader, they took on the Needville Blue Jays, got the win 42-30. This game had an even amount of scoring from top to bottom. AC Miori and Jordy Ibarra each put up 7, which were game highs, followed by Bella Micas with 6. Cassidy Nethery, Camden Morales, Bridget Bluda, and Presley Manning each had 5. Maddie Stefka chipped in as well. Game 2, they got the Brazos Cougars. Dominant victory for the ladies. They only allowed 7 points in the second half. The girls are now 15-5 overall on the year. They have won 7 games in a row. They play Tidehaven tomorrow. They're going for another tournament victory. Well, we've got some history in the college ranks, and it involves the Texas State Bobcats. They're going to get a pick 6 here to open up that lead just a bit. The crowd was loud. They traveled well, and it was worth it. They got to see a big man touchdown. This right here, offensive lineman Nash Jones. What a way to cap off your first ever bowl victory. And what a job by first-year head coach G.J. Kinney. Texas State wins the First Responders Bowl 45-21. It is official. The Dallas Mavericks will soon have some new owners. Billionaire Mark Cuban has sold his majority stake in the NBA team to Dr. Miriam Adelson and her family. Adelson is the largest shareholder of Las Vegas Sands Casino Empire. Her son-in-law, Patrick Dumont, will serve as the Mavericks governor. In a previous statement, Adelson and her family credit Cuban for the team's success, including winning an NBA championship. According to reports, Cuban will maintain partial ownership of the Mavericks franchise and remain in control of basketball operations. And some big quarterback news out of the NFL. Broncos have benched Russell Wilson for the remainder of the year, and C.J. Stroud back practicing for the first time in weeks. And that's big news because Houston's playoff scenario is simple. They win their last 2, they are in. Don, back to you.
With CJ, they are A-OK. All right, Zach, thank you. And we're back in a moment. A Connecticut alpaca farm has a new use for your Christmas tree. It's good for the environment and a healthy snack for the alpacas. Eat up, boys. Articles and stories we covered in 2023. Just go to crossroadstoday.com and click on Crossroads Today Top Stories of 2023 under News. Finally tonight, a Connecticut alpaca farm offers a new way to get rid of your Christmas trees this year. The alpacas eat the trees. Farm owner Allison Minch says it's good for their digestive system. While the farm is open, you can drop off the trees or you can feed your tree directly to the alpacas. The farm has been collecting trees for a couple of years now. They say make sure your tree does not have any scents, chemicals, tinsel, or ornaments. What a deal. There are times when I've known people who have live trees have trouble trying to get rid of their trees. It's tough to find. Now, if we had an alpaca farm nearby, just take them over there, and there's Al eating one of those. Yeah,
Do we have one nearby?
That's a good question. I don't know. But now we know alpacas like Christmas trees.
Yeah, I didn't know you could eat that. I didn't know they were like an edible type of deal, you know.
For alpacas, they are. For humans, no. No, I would not.
You
No.
cleared up the last one. I was going to ask you, what about the ornaments? But you cleared that up like, whoa, you don't want the
Take
Christmas
them off,
lights out there.
please. Take them off.
Take those off.
Yes. And people are taking their trees down right now because it doesn't feel like Christmas because the weather's great out there.
No, it's been beautiful. Now, overnight, yeah, you might say get that hot cocoa out. We're dropping in the 30s. Friday night, hey, we could be close to freezing, but 37 for tonight. Tomorrow, 60. Looking ahead, hey, not too bad the rest of the week as we look at that.
Thank you, Howie, and thanks for joining us. We'll see you tonight for 25 News Now at 10. Have a good one, everybody.